Welcome to round 4 of the SAGT. We are still here in PE at the Aldo Scribante racetrack, and it's time to get to that afternoon time. I can already feel it's getting a little bit chilly.
Yeah, a little bit chilly out here, but the racing action has been hot thus far, and we expect things to continue in that vein. Why? Because there's been yet another shuffle of the deck, and the drivers have swapped drivers here and there. There's a little bit of team tactics going on here as well, so I think this is going to be a slightly spiced up version of race number 1.
I think we need to speak to our first driver who's done a little bit of a shuffle, and that's Aldo Scribante. Aldo, you've done a lot of changes today. It's been a little bit of an up and down for you.
Gqeberha, it's been a very busy weekend. I'm missing my car, but the drivers that are on the grid have been great. They've offered me drives, so at least I can accumulate some points in the championship, and just get through the weekend with some points, and I'll be happy. The previous race 1, I was with Michael in the McLaren, and I think I kind of held him up a little bit at the end there and cost him a position or two. So I said to Mike, listen, you go flat out and enjoy your race. I'll hitch a lift with the AMG with Son Mudley, and he actually wanted some help, Son, because he's also doing the first hour of the 4-hour. So yeah, it'll help him as well from an endurance point of view.
And he's got obviously a lot of testing to be done on that AMG. What are you kind of expecting? Because you've literally driven it for 1 lap.
Yeah, no, it was a... Yeah, it is kind of strange. I actually went on the warm-up lap and just felt the car left to right. And I must admit, Mercedes felt really nicely balanced, left to right. The braking strong. So yeah, I think I'm gonna enjoy that drive. I'm looking very forward to it. Yeah.
I think that we're looking forward to seeing you in that car as well. You're going to do the second stint, am I correct?
Yeah, Son's going to go out now. He hasn't told us exactly what duration he's going to do. I think it depends on how he feels, and when he wants to come in, he'll radio his pit crew, and they'll ready me, and then I'll be in the car and trying my best out there.
Well, we look forward to seeing you on the track a bit later today.
Thank you, Gqeberha. Thanks.
Right.
Bye-bye.
So it was a bit of a chop and change for Aldo, but
yes.
He seems very positive.
Yeah, I think so. I think his performance in race 1 showed that he can hang with the big dogs, and his performance in the previous race at Red Star as well shows that he's clearly got the pace. But this is a front engine car, and for me personally, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how he adapts 3 cars in 1 day. You don't see that often. Well, speaking of someone that's had to adapt to a car, we've got our man over there, Neveling, and walking over to Arnold Neveling. Hoe gaan het? I understand that you are now in the Audi, but you're starting. Usually, Ranjis is the man to start. I know he's fast as a starter. You are clearly fast as a finisher. You brought the car home early on. Why now are you starting this race?
I think, I think it was just the idea to shake it up a little bit, It's also a nice experience for me to start the race as well. And then Charles will be nice and fresh at the end, and can bring the car home for us, hopefully in another first place.
Oh, look, I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to be right at the tip of the spear. The pace for both of you guys as a driver combo, was that something that you guys decided to choose? You clearly both have very similar pace and very similar fast pace in this car as well. What was the thought process behind the two of you guys getting together?
Well, I joined the team in last year, first initially in Polo Cup, and then Charles just said to me one day, look, let's go do some endurance races. And I was definitely not going to say no to it. And, ever since then, I think it's been such a great pairing, I learned a lot from him in the beginning, and, he has so much experience. So for me, it's been a blessing, really, And we really do make a good team. I think we have a nice dynamic working together, and it's just stuck ever since, and hopefully we can do many more.
Well, I think there's going to be many, many, many more as the tire warmer generator goes down there. You guys got the tire warmers on. I think we're going to see some tires warm down the strip. Good luck for the second race of the day. I'm sure you guys are going to do great.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, there you go, folks. This is your race winner from earlier on, and what a fantastic performance from them in the first race. I suspect they're going to be doing the same in the second race. You were doing some scouting at the back
Yes, I am doing some scouting.
And what did you find?
So we're going to be chatting to another one of the driver changes, and Daniel Rowe is not going to be driving with Celso on this particular race. He's swapping over to Darren Goodman, and I'm going to lean here. If you can come join me in the car over here. Darren, what are we expecting from you on this race today?
repeat last?
What are you expecting from the race today?
What am I expecting? Well, obviously Daniel did a stunning time in the first race, so he's got us high up in the grid. I'm hoping just to stay out of everybody's way and keep as far ahead of the guys behind me as possible.
Have you had quite a lot of time to get used to this car?
Unfortunately not. We've had a bit of seat time, but more than I would have expected. But there's a lot to learn in the car, and coming from the West Bank days, which were pretty basic, this car is so technically advanced and super easy to drive in one way, but actually quite intimidating in another. So I'd like to have a bit more and maybe fresher rubber, but I'm going to give it all in this race and see where we land up.
Well, I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you for chatting to me. Really exciting to see that Darren is excited about this car. I was lucky enough, Darren's also a helicopter pilot, just for the record, and he took me on a trip around the track a little earlier this week. It's really cool to see the track from the air. Another cool fact is I actually got to do a hot lap around the Aldo Scribante racetrack this afternoon with Jason Botman, who normally drives for Autohaus Angel, and all I can say is wow, coming down this main straight into that first corner, your heart skips every single beat under the sun. But really, what an amazing experience. And I can hear that the whistle has just been blown. All the teams, there it is, all the teams have been given that go ahead to start getting the cars prepped. I'm going to hand over to Stephen and Ernest, who are in the commentary box.
Well, as you heard, it has been an absolute change-up at the front end of the field. Neveling going to be starting out and looking to make a big impact, trying to break away. But remember, now he has also got 75 kilos added to his car. So that's going to change it up now. You originally had nothing. Now you've got this 75 kilos. You've got a passenger in with you to try and make a bit of ground. So it's going to be a bit of a fun time for the Charlerangis and Neveling combo. And I know Ernest is joining me back in the booth. Ernest, how are you feeling, being around these cars? You can feel the tension.
Oh yes, you can feel the tension on the grid. I was just on the grid now, and tension, it most certainly it is palpable out there. These drivers are very focused. I tell you what, the team that's not feeling the tension quite as much is Arangis and Neveling. They seem quietly confident. They know that the formula that they have works. They might have a little bit of extra weight in the car, but they do know that the formula does work, and that if they keep playing their cards correctly, they should have another race winning car. Now, someone that has changed their strategy quite a bit is, of course, Michael Steven. Michael Steven clearly has the pace, has a race winning pace, and now will be alone in the car so that he can try and get away, or at least catch up to the lead pack. So I think that Michael Steven is going to be the guy to watch. But just look at the starting grid now, totally jumbled up from early on. We got Aldo Scribante in second position. Now this is the race order from the first race, and then the Scribante, well, what was the Scribante row car is now the Scribante Goodman's car, with Goodman's looks like he's starting out for them in that car over there.
Well, if we actually take a look at the weight as well, you've got Charlerangis and Neveling with 75 kilos. You've got Aldo Scribante with 60 kilos in the car. Dan Angel now sitting with 45 kilos. And Michael Steven having 30 kilograms in the car. And Marcel Angel with 15 kilograms. So a bit of a change-up as they've gone through. So it's going to be quite interesting to see. Now the McLaren has a little bit more in it.
Big time change up, and I think another driver that we should watch out for definitely is going to be the Sun Moodley car. We've got Aldo Scribante jumping in that car later on as the Ferrari slows them down. The pace car Ferrari slows them down, and looks like he's going to be leading us off until the drivers he peels off, and then the drivers hit the track at absolute manic speeds. We saw earlier on that these drivers were not holding back. We saw earlier on that we got some fuel coming out the back of the Ferrari there. I think they might have not put the fuel cap on. I think the fuel cap on the Ferrari has been put on, and this is not looking good. That is the 46 car over there. That looks like that is not Dan Angel. Marcel Angel, the winner of the Pro-Am category early on. So hopefully the fuel is just overfilled, and hopefully it's not going to cause too much of an issue as they now bleed off. The pace car bleeds off, and we are about to go racing. the car stays out, so the Ferrari stays out. And ladies and gentlemen, we are about to go racing. Ranjis leads us off with Neveling, though. The Ranjis car with Neveling behind the wheel. Silvio Scribante still fuel pouring out, and the fuel there now touched the tire. You can see the car squirm a little bit there. He's going to be having some problems on the right-hand corners as they now get off. Silvio Scribante, everything to play for. Michael Stephen tucks it in behind the Audi. Michael Stephen might get second position. He's got the position going into the first right-hander, but look at Scribante. Scribante touches the Audi on the outside. Scribante slots back into second place with the McLaren now in third, but not holding back as Michael Stephen. The three of them still battling it out. Behind that is the next Lamborghini, and it looks like it's still pretty much a similar format as the 51 Dane Angel car now behind that Lamborghini, but it looks like Dane Angel is doing very well out there, even with a little bit of extra weight. Fourth place Lamborghini over there, the other Scribante car, as the Ferrari goes down the inside, takes the position. That is Marcel Angel there. That's Dane Angel. Marcel Angel still leaking fuel over there. Marcel Angel still leaking fuel. Dane Angel gets the position there, and Dane Angel slots up a position. And the top three now starting to bleed away ever so slightly. No surprises with Dane Angel slotting into fourth position.
So Marcel at this point must be getting a lot of radio contact. Listen, something's going on at the back. Try and back it off. Let's see what's going on. Also, you got the officials telling it, but it seems like he's back onto the pace. Something has just sorted itself out, and thankfully so. Now it's to keep going. You've got Jackson, who previously spun, now back on the pace. He's looking to try and push himself up. So it's absolutely fantastic to see the guys really doing everything they can. But Michael Stephen falling off the pace. Silvio, who just took a big lunge on the inside, seems to have lost a huge amount of pace to Neveling, who's just running away with it at this point.
Neveling running away with it. We saw earlier on that was Dane Angel overtaking the Goodman's car. Goodman's behind the wheel. Goodman's filling in for Daniel Rowe. Him sharing the car with Chelsea Scribante. And Daniel Rowe did the first race with Chelsea, and this time Goodman's starting them off. And he's the new driver on the grid at the moment. And quickly, oh my goodness, the fuel is absolutely pouring out there. And these cars are on such a knife edge, they need all the fuel they can get. So that is not ideal. It doesn't look like it's a cap that's actually not fitted correctly. It looks like the cap itself is not on at all. So the 46 car over there has got a big problem. Every single right-hander, and PE is made up of mostly right-handers, is going to be a problem for that car.
So it looks like it's actually putting pressure back into the tank and just forcing fuel out, and that's definitely not going to be helpful. They might actually get called in for that just because they are pouring fuel out the side. And warning signs must be coming in of every time they go through a fast hander, it's just pressurizing that tank, throwing all the fuel out. And he's going to have to back off. They're going to have to pull him in and try and sort out that car.
Yeah.
He cannot keep going like that.
He cannot keep going like that. Not for 30 minutes, Steve. And also, that means they'd have to put in extra fuel as well. A lot of these cars are fueled to the absolute limit. Let's see if he goes into the pits. No, he does not. Stays out. And there is the... Oh, my goodness. The car's still pouring out fuel there. So much fuel pouring out. And that was the previous Dane Angel car we saw coming down the strip. And no, he still isn't pitting. Still giving Jackson a bit of a run for his money there. That's Jackson in front of him with Goodman's just up ahead. And now we cut to Michael Stephen with the hard push in the McLaren over there. Michael Stephen with some serious pace earlier on. And losing out to second position in race one. But now, with everything to play for, look, I think he's going to go for that second position. Neveling at the moment with just incredible pace. 57.9 his best time so far. Best time of Silvio 59, and the best time of Michael Stephen 58.5. So looks like Silvio and Michael will soon be having a bit of a tussle of their own. If you look at the timesheets there, you can see the last times 58.0 for Neveling, Scribante 58.9, so 9/10 of a second, and Michael Stephen 1/10 of a second further down with Dane Angel also in the 58s. So the top four drivers definitely, as once again we see the fuel absolutely pouring out on the left hand side of that Ferrari over there. This is not a good sign for Team Angel.
Definitely, and the garage to go and fill up is a little bit far away, so definitely not what you want to have at the moment. But Michael Stephen going and really pushing hard, trying to make up that ground. He went and brought up that Aldo's climbed out of the car now. it's now a chance for him just to give it everything he's got to try and make up that ground. So it's absolutely fantastic to see that he's pushing the car to its limit. He's got a little bit less weight left in the car, so now it is all about trying to make up that time and move up. It's all for championship points at this time.
Championship points indeed, and that's what this race series is about. That's one of the reasons why Aldo Scribante wanted to make sure he was racing. His car didn't perform, and he got sat into another car. Oh my goodness, that is so bad. And now he's once again sat in a third car for the day. We've never seen that. That's kind of unprecedented to be driving 3 different cars for the day, as Aldo Scribante now finds himself in the Sun Moodley car later on.
Now, what I'm wondering about Marcel's car at this moment is, we all know that it's got a quick fuel system. In other words, it's got a way to pressurize the tank, get the oxygen out, pour all the fuel in. It seems like it's actually jammed. That whole quick system has jammed, and it's just allowing the fuel to pour out. And I mean, at this point, you're not looking in your mirrors. You're so focused, you tunnel visioned onto the car ahead of you that you're losing out seeing something's going wrong. The only time he's going to see is when he starts having a disco on his dash.
Yeah, well, I did see earlier on the fuel ran onto the left tire, and the car had a little bit of a jig there, as we now cut to Kwanda Mokoena in the GT4 car, winning the AM category. His first time or second time out in this car, but certainly one of the first times he's driven this car. And the pace is there. I think the only thing he was struggling with, as far as I could see, was that he wasn't able to navigate the faster overtaking cars as well. But that's something that will come with experience and time. And soon, I think he won't be having that problem in South African motorsport, because he'll more than likely be at the front mixing it up with the big dogs in the coming months, possibly next year. As we now cut to second and third place, Aldo Scribante in the Kemsa Lamborghini over there. Michael Stephen just behind him in the MP4-12. As they make their way into the final right-hander over there, the long right-hander onto the main straight. And now we see them coming onto view, the Dunlop sign to the background there. Let's see how they go down the main straight. Michael Stephen, no stranger to the circuit, plenty of action here. But I think we're forgetting that Dane Angel is now starting to close that gap ever so slightly.
Slowly drawing them in. He is a little bit lighter, so it's starting to help. But Silvio at this point is trying to utilize every part of the circuit. He's trying to think, how can he close the door as much as possible? Remember, he's trying to prove that he can move up through the field. He managed to get himself into second place, and he wants to maintain it, try and get as much points possible for the end of this day.
Yeah.
So it's for the championship. Michael Stephen at this point is trying to catch up. He's trying to make points after losing out quite a bit. So now this is where the pressure comes in, of how much are you willing to push it for this hour race. It's a sprint race at this point, but how much are you willing to go? How much are you willing to push the cars, and also how much tire life is left?
Yeah, and it is a sprint race effectively, even though it's 1 hour compared to what these cars can do. These cars are designed to run for 12, sometimes 24 hours, so a 1 hour race isn't that much. But certainly in South African motorsport, historically we've had a lot more shorter races, so a 1 hour race is quite long. So these drivers really are having to dial in a lot of them. As we can see now, we cut to Neerweling, Polo Cup background. Polo Cup sprint races are much, much shorter and certainly a lot slower than this. So Neerweling really having to dial in there. The number 1 on that car, shining bright, as he gets the car a little bit squirrely there. You can see the black lines being left behind as he comes up now towards Sun Moodley in that front engine Mercedes-Benz. My favorite car here today. Not the fastest car, but certainly the best looking. And I'll be interested to see what kind of lap times Aldo does later on when he gets behind the wheel of the very new Mercedes-Benz AMG GT.
Well, it's going to be a big change up from the mid-engines that he's been. But also, just take a look at Neerweling. Through the corners, it was a little bit jittery as he was putting the power on. Traction control, trying to pull the car back into check. And then we've got Michael Stephen looking up on the inside. Will he be able to make it? And Silvio just more than happy to rub paint. Goes out wide and into the
Oh my
dirt.
goodness me. There goes Aldo Scribante off the circuit. One of the first incidents we've seen here today. Aldo Scribante goes off the circuit, and hopefully we can get a replay of that. Aldo Scribante runs wide, and that's going to cost him big time. Second position. The pressure of Michael Stephen behind him, maybe. I don't think there was any contact, was there? I don't think there was any issues there. Just he ran wide, and we've got the replay coming up now. Michael Stephen going down the inside over there, and Silvio Scribante unfortunately getting the worst of that tussle. We're going to cut to a replay now. You can see him going down the inside. Silvio Scribante runs wide. I don't think they touched, but he did ever so slightly go off there. And once you touch that dirt there, Steve, it's all over.
I wonder if it was a look in the mirror, look to your neighbor and say, listen, you're going to hit the brakes first, you're going to hit the brakes first, you're going to hit the brakes first, and then suddenly ran out of road at that point.
Well, an unbelievable tussle there. I mean, look, it's a bit intimidating having Michael Stephen, 17-time champion, coming up behind you, and I'm sure San Muli can attest to that, as he now has that same problem. But Michael Stephen with some problems of his own, as the Dane Angel car now slots up behind him. San Muli gets out the way. Dane Angel now through the hanger sweep. Dane Angel tussling right behind Michael Stephen, not scared to show his teeth here in that black and yellow Ferrari number 51 car. Dane Angel really showing a serious turn of pace in the last 2 rounds, and certainly the last 2 events that we've had ever since the start of the SAGT Championship this year.
Well, I can see Michael Stephen really put it up the back of San Muli, just trying to force him, get out the way, I need to get past, and getting a little bit back to race 1, where it nearly cost him going down into 4th place. So he really just put it right in the back there, and just hoping that Muttley would move out the way. But Dane Angel's more than happy to go for that little gap to try and push Stephen out wide. And as we go and take a look, it's one of the Lambos.
That's Goodman's over there. That's Goodman's over there, maybe having a bit of a problem there. I know they did have some fuel pump problems with that car earlier on. Chelsea Scribante said they had to actually swap fuel pumps as they were driving. So maybe there's a fuel pump issue in that car. Hopefully they can sort that out. But you're absolutely right. Earlier on we saw Dane Angel being the winner of that little incident where the other Angel car was one of the back markers. So Dane Angel certainly came off better earlier on. But this time though, what will be the outcome?
Well, this is where it all gets a little bit interesting, because Dane Angel and Stephen are currently running by themselves, so they have to get out and get back in. You can be sure that they're starting to feel it now. They've done a long day. It is currently 1 in the afternoon, 7 minutes past 1, so they are now a little bit worn out. They've been out in the sun, and they have to try and focus as much as possible.
Yeah, they've got to try and focus as much as possible, and focus is indeed what this is all about. Just look at that turn of pace over there as the number 1 car with Arnold Neveling behind the wheel. They call him Ari, which is quite strange to me, because I would think that Aranjis would be the Ari in the group. But Ari over there, Ari Neveling over there, doing very well, taking the step up from Tintop Racing to GT Racing. And here comes the 78 car now down the inside. That is Goodman's over there, and overtaking Jackson this time. Goodman's getting past Jackson, and Goodman's clearly finding a little bit of pace out there in the Lamborghini.
Actually, I had a chat to Goodman's, just trying to figure out, what his feel is with the car. He says it's not a big step up from the Westbank V8 he used to race. Obviously, the technology is very different, but the car itself is very forgiving. It's not going to bite you too hard. If you go and drive a little bit rough, then it will get you. But just all in all, left foot braking's a lot easier, getting on the power, and even just turning into the corners, it's a lot more forgiving than what he's used to driving. He's used to something that you put the power down, the backside wants to go out from underneath you. Yeah. This is more comfortable, and the computers aren't being as evasive as he originally thought it was.
Yeah, exactly. These computers can be quite invasive depending on how high you turn the traction control. They've got multiple settings, and I mean, you spoke to me about TC1, TC2, with certain cars here having 2-stage traction control, Steve.
Yeah, so you've got a TC1, which is your gain, which is basically forward and back. That's when you get on the power, it's trying to stop the wheels from, well, just giving you a burnout. Then you've got TC2, which is your slip. That stops you from moving left to right.
That's similar to ASC, active stability control, isn't it?
Yes, so it's the basic version of it, but now you have a little bit more control. You have your pick. You can go and stop it from doing lots of burnout essentially, but you can allow it to slide through the corners a bit easier, so you can set it to what you feel is necessary. But then you've also got your engine mapping, which the cars also have to deal with. They got engine mapping 1, which is one of their faster settings, and the guys have to work through, because each engine mapping goes and slows down the car but saves the amount of fuel, so they can also try and put less fuel in carry less weight and be able to move a lot more forward. Where Kawanda McKenna is just in the GT4, he's got everything set to max. He's having an absolute fun. But what he spoke about is the amount of turning on the actual steering, how little he has to turn to get it into the corner. He's trying to get used to it. Even now, after race 1, he says it just feels like you've got to work quite hard and you've got to concentrate so much, because one little move can end up with one big mistake.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly the kind of level that we're playing at over here. We saw early on, just going into turn 1, we saw the Aldo Scribante car running wide into that corner over there on the outside of the corner, running into the Kitty litter over there. So one tiny mistake can make big deficits, as Marcel Angel, or at least Dane Angel, has a look down the inside there. Dane Angel has a look down the inside, and just not able to make it work. But now the pressure is on Michael Stephen, though. No stranger to pressure. I mean, and all his titles attest to that. He's clearly used to having cars right behind him, especially from a karting background. You've definitely got to get used to being able to drive with somebody right tucked up behind you for lap after lap after lap. He did mention that the McLaren's not the quickest car out there. So as he now goes defensive into turn 1 here at Aldo Scribante, and moves over ever so slightly to the outside to get the line through the S's, but the S is not the best place for overtaking, though. I think the main location for overtaking here would be going through turn 1.
But as you can see, he's trying everything he can to keep it all in place. He's trying to make sure the car is just in the right place to stop any overtaking maneuvers. But at the same time, he's watching those mirrors. He's constantly focused on Dane Angel, who's going after him. Dane Angel, though, is pushing incredibly hard. And every so often, he's dropping a wheel off into the dirt, slowly going and losing the drive. And he needs to try and refocus, regroup, maybe lifting off the throttle a little bit, try and back off, refocus, and go back on the attack. Cool those tires down. Go and relax and start then making a move onto it, because you've got to think of the long game, not the short game.
Well, we saw earlier on, yes, Aldo Scribante now, just speaking of the devil, we saw earlier on the Diablo, so to speak. This is the successor to the Diablo, the Hurricane, of course. What a fantastic car this is. And the thing is that with these cars over here, they can do pit stops, they can stop. So I think what we saw with Sylvia early on could happen to some of the other drivers. They're going to think to themselves, you know what, I can't make this position on the circuit. And we see this now. Clearly the Ferrari's faster, but he's not able to get past. Tail out there. And that corner there is the tail out action corner. Look at all the cars in the background there. Look at all the people here today. What a fantastic day of racing. To those that are listening to the stream, welcome to Aldo Scribante Circuit. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves out there. And it looks like that front left tire is working very hard on that McLaren MP4-12C over there. But I think we're going to see these guys trying to get that overtake maneuver down the pit road. Oh, down the outside. This is the same thing we saw earlier on with Silvio. This time, though, Dane Angel holds it back. And look at the flames coming out of that McLaren as they make their way through the S's.
Well, if we take a look at the McLaren, it weighs 1,250 kgs, and then you've got the likes of Dan Angel in that Ferrari 488, which is running at 1,285 kg. So it is a bit heavier baseline, but the McLaren has had a restrictor put on to slow it down a bit, to make it fit the balance and performance. So it's definitely come into play where you've got the mechanical side slowing the car down, and you've got the weight slowing the driver down. So it's putting both the machine and man at the testing both at this time, and it seems to be playing into the favor of Stephen.
Look at that, Stephen having another look down the inside there. That is Angel having a look down the inside, and Angel ducking into the pit. So an early pit stop from Angel, just 18 minutes in. And is that a problem on that front left over there on Michael Stephen? That tire looks very, very deflated over there. Did you see that, Steve? That tire looks very, very deflated. Hopefully we can get a closer look at that left front tire. Maybe it's just working really hard, but it does look like it's very, very low down as he makes his way through the corners. I know these cars haven't got that low profile tires. The tires are quite chunky, these Michelin Pilot Sport GTs. So the tires are quite chunky on these cars. I'd love to get a closer look at that McLaren, maybe a slow motion of that McLaren taking a corner. That would be wonderful if we could get that to have a closer look at that front left tire of that McLaren. And there goes Son Woodley in the Bigfoot Mercedes-Benz.
Well, the one thing with Son Woodley, there we go, there's
there
a
we go.
replay.
Oh, that doesn't look good, man. That does not look good at all, but maybe that's just the setup. Maybe they're running low pressures in the front. We're going to have to wait and see how this turns out.
Well, if he pulls in the pits and starts lifting the car up, then we get our answer on whether it's going. But I wouldn't be surprised. He was pushing the car a little bit harder, a little bit harder, a little bit harder. If he goes and runs it over a curb just in the wrong place, he can go and cause a slow puncture. But remember, these cars have systems to go and pick up things like this. You'll start monitoring that there's a lower pressure sitting around.
I think that front left is a problem, man. That car looks very low in the front left over there. I don't think that car's doing too well in the front left, but it's going to be a matter of time. He's still got serious pace, though, and his last lap there was a 58.6. Sorry, a 59.6. Best is a 58.6. So he's 1 second off the pace there. So he's definitely got the speed, but that is running very, very low over there.
So definitely one thing to keep an eye on as they make their way past Son Woodley. Now, I've got to have a good little bit of giggles because the team don't quite know about Son Woodley. He's going to just keep driving around and around and around until he feels like, oh, well, I'm going to pit and change drivers. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how that all works out.
Yeah, no, he hasn't quite let the rest of the team know. But we've got Kriya Gangia in the pit lane. She's going to give us some inside information. Kriya, over to you.
I'm standing here with the guys from Autohaus Angel. It was an interesting strategy for you. You decided to bring Dane in a little early.
Yeah, so the idea is not to get held up behind him, not lose pace over the full hour. So we put him early, give him clear track position. That way, if he can do his thing, we can get a good result.
He's come out in fourth. Are we looking at speeds that can get us up into earlier or better positions?
Yeah, obviously the first race we ran with full ballast weight from the previous win that we had. So he's got a bit less weight in now, 45 kilos. So we're looking for a good result on this one.
Do you want to give the guys in the commentary box a little extra information on when you're going to bring Marcel in?
Yeah, so Marcel's running good in the Pro-Am class. So he did very well in the first race, although he's got a bit of ballast now for success in the first race.
He's still out on top.
So he's pushing good lap times. He hasn't been in the car for a while, but the old bull's got some gears.
Some horns behind him, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Cool.
We'll see how it goes.
Cool, thank you very much. Well, there you go, guys. A little bit of extra information as to why Dane Angel came into the pits slightly earlier. One thing I have noticed that what it's done is it's sparked a little extra action in the pits. And we're seeing some other teams starting to react to the fact that Dane Angel has come in early.
Yeah. There we see Dane Angel and Marcel Angel swapping positions. Marcel Angel, as they say there, still doing very, very well out there, leading off the Pro-Am category. Dane Angel now on the chase. And that was that gentleman over there was Divan Wenzel. He's the gentleman that works. Oh my goodness, and there it is. Left front puncture for the McLaren over there. That is Michael Stevens' car. So that tire was deflating all along, and this is absolute disaster. They are on the pit road now as he goes into the pit lane, and absolute disaster for Michael Steven, but an absolute success story for Team Angel as they now down the bend.
Now that's definitely not what they wanted, and I think Michael Steven at that point was having his teeth, fillings shaken out of his teeth as as it all went down. Now it's going to be lifted up, change the tires, and get going. But Dane Angel's going to be smiling along with their team as they rocket their way around the circuit. But take a look at Neveling.
No! The 78 car goes off there as well. Apologies, Steve. The 78 car, Goodman's, goes off the circuit there. But that's the second Lambo we've seen off on that corner. Hopefully he can keep it together going forward.
It looks like the Bulls want to go and have some feeding time in the yard by the looks of it. But Neveling is just having an absolute blast as he makes his way around. But absolutely, what a blow for Michael Stevens at that point, just going and having it deflate. We're talking about just catching the curb at the wrong angle to cause a deflation. It looked like it started delaminating the tire a little bit, and now it's how much damage has actually been done. You know, they're going to lift the car up and they're going to feel what's been done to the suspension, because where did it go?
So what's surprising to me is how fast he was able to go with a slow puncture. I mean, that was frankly incredible. He was doing 59s earlier on, a little bit off his own pace, but still able to keep it out there. I think they just tried to run it as long as possible on those tires to keep the Ferrari behind them for as long as possible, because I don't think they were in contention for first place. But now certainly any strategy that Michael Stephen had of staying out there alone is now paid. You know, it's unfortunately not paid off for him, and Michael Stephen now is obviously now running at a slight deficit, and Dane Angel going to be running off into the distance.
So you can be sure that pit crew earned their keep at that one.
We've got Kriya in the pits.
All right, I'm standing here with Isak Spies. Isak, what exactly happened there?
And I think he got a puncture on the wheel, and obviously also pitted, but we lost some time. There's a man.
So does that count as your pit stop for the day, or is it going to be coming in again?
No, that's for the day, yeah. Yes.
And no damage to the car from that?
No, it doesn't look like it. Yeah. Lucky it broke, got a puncture halfway through, so not too much damage.
But you did lose a rib, because that looked terrible. That puncture looks horrible.
I mean, it doesn't look nice at all. You get so angry because you work so hard. So yeah, it takes a lot to make this happen. But racing is racing.
Okay, well, it is Michael Stephen, so hopefully he can pull some times there.
Yeah, well, he's a good driver. He can. Yeah, but I mean, I think Orange is not too far ahead. So just to finish, get points.
Whilst I have you, you decided to take a little bit of a back seat today. When are we going to see you in a car again?
Well, with the next race, when my new cars are coming, so I can't wait to see that. Yeah, absolutely, that's going to be awesome.
All right, a little inside information there from Isak Spies. We are going to see him on the racetrack at the next race. But for now, over to you guys back in the commentary box.
Isak Spies over there, one of the founding members of SAGT and SAES, making sure that the racing takes place this weekend. So really his contribution to the sport has been phenomenal, and he is partnered up usually with the man with the puncture, Michael Stephen. So clearly watching on, and the tire that rim is, I'm sure, very damaged. But as he mentioned, there's a saying in motorsport, that's racing.
Well, there's something to think about here, Ernest. Pulled in the pits, change of tire. Did Michael Stephen climb out the car and then get back in the car? That completes a mandatory pit stop, which could benefit them in doing that, because it gets the mandatory out the way and allows him to keep going. It was a little bit of an earlier pit stop than planned, but it allows him to try and climb that ladder after a bit of a rough time with the tire deflation. So that's the type of thinking of what happened. Did the guy climb out the car to complete that mandatory pit stop?
He would have had to, and based on what Isak was saying, that was their mandatory pit stop. Now, will a new front left make a difference? Most of the corners here in PE are very hard left-handers, and as we cut to that McLaren right now, so most of these corners are very hard left-handers. You've got the sweep over here heading up towards the final corner, which is also a left-hander. So these corners at PE are such high G sweeping fast corners. Even this hairpin is not a slow hairpin. So now we cut back to that tire over there, looking a lot healthier than it did a couple of laps ago.
Going and swapping out, but also touching a little bit of dirt on the exit. So still pushing the car a little bit hard, trying to get a little bit of heat into it as well. So it's going to see how it all works. Maybe he's got to be careful not to damage that tire once again. Did he try go a little bit wide, and that's what caused the puncture? We'll have to keep an eye on it as he keeps powering his way through. He's down in 7th place and needs to try and make up as much ground as possible. And it's not going to be an easy run now.
Well, the pit stops haven't started for all the drivers yet, so hopefully we should see a shuffle later on. But at the moment, Kwanda is in 8th position, Michael Stephen in 7th place, Marius Jackson in a respectable 6th position. Goodman's in 5th, Marcel Angel, the first of the Pro-Am drivers, in 4th position. Dane Angel 3rd in Pro class, Silvius Gqeberha 2nd position in Pro class over there, and Neveling in 1st position in the Pro Division and first overall.
That's 40 seconds until we hit the halfway mark, and these drivers are still giving it everything they got, putting in some fantastic times. I mean, Neveling is keeping a consistent 57 the whole way around. So, I mean, that's impressive. After going on to 30 minutes, he's still been running 57, 58, 1. So he's still trying to keep that consistent pace to push his way through and then hand over the car to Charles Ranges, who we know can get it down to a 56.
Yeah, Charles Ranges has some serious pace underfoot, but Neveling was their qualifier and he got the fastest time in qualifying, just 0.2 of a second ahead of Ranges. As we now look at the standings over there, these are the positions halfway through the race, folks, and there you have it. Ranges Neveling in first position, pro class leaders as well. Sylvia Scribante still in second place with Dane Angel in third position, and unfortunately Michael Stephen there, as you can see, crossed the line all the way down in seventh position. So the Pro-Am Marcel Angel, that fuel issue didn't seem to be much of a problem though. He seems to be out there, and according to Divan Wenzel, still running pretty well.
But also take a look, Dan Angel, after 25 laps, did his best lap, where everyone's been lap 3, lap 8. So early on in the race, Dan Angel managed to do it later on into the race. So he's gotten used to the car, he's gotten into the rhythm, and he's now trying to keep himself going and try and carry that car all the way through. So absolutely fantastic there, and he's only getting faster with time. Let's see what he's going to do as the tank starts to empty out, like in race 1.
Yeah, the tank certainly will start to empty out. Maybe a splash and dash is what's going to be necessary for them later on, because he might have lost quite a substantial amount of fuel there. As mentioned, a lot of these corners are right-handers with a heavy lean to the left. So you're going to be chucking out a lot of fuel. We saw him early on chucking out liters and liters of fuel as the 78 Lamborghini of Goodman's comes through as well. He hasn't pit stopped yet, and when he does, Charles Scribante will hop into the car and take over and see if he can do some very fast laps in that Scribante Lamborghini. We're supposed to see another Scribante Lamborghini that looked exactly like that out today. Unfortunately, Aldo's car had some issues, so Aldo was in the McLaren earlier on and then jumping into the Mercedes later on in this race. But I tell you what, it's so confusing when both those Lambos are out there, Steve. I'm not too mad at Aldo being in a Mercedes-Benz. It makes it a bit easier to identify him.
That's it. The only difference was literally the wing mirrors being yellow. They reported that there was something odd with the cams and they weren't prepared to just drive the motor. It was still able to drive, but they weren't prepared to go and bust it. They didn't want to break it. They've got other rounds. There's a long game to it. It's a long championship, and it's a rather expensive motor to go and, if it lets go, it's a long way to Italy. It's a long way to Italy,
and this is a game of chess, not checkers. So these guys are playing the season-long game, and points can be collected even if you're in a different car. So for them to be in a different car makes a lot of sense, and for them to not break the existing car, maybe it's a small issue, but small issues can quickly turn into big issues if you're going to be running it at maximum attack for 1 hour, even 2.
That's it. So keeping up the pace, you can see how the 78 car of Goodman's trying to keep it all together. Lots of racing experience, and now he's just enjoying the car, trying to trail bake. He says he sits between Daniel Rowe and Scribante, so he's trying not to go insane with the pace. He doesn't want to break it, but at the same time he doesn't want to be too far behind the field, so just trying to keep it all together. I'm sure the little bit of rally driving he did earlier did not help the confidence into turn 1, but it's really nice to see the guys really working their way up, because remember, the West Bank Series was at a stage one of the pinnacles of South African motorsport. Now we've moved on to the SAGT, which is the next pinnacle. It is right up there of the best cars to climb into. So I'm sure he's really enjoying it, going and moving up in stages through the eras that he's been around.
Yeah, speaking of slight errors early on. We saw Silvio Scribante, and Silvio's had a fantastic performance this race and the last. So one tiny mistake saw him going off the circuit earlier on, and that cost him big time. But again, we're playing a game of inches here, and that's all it takes. Silvio, as I said, has had fantastic performances, and I spoke to him afterwards, and I gotta say, as far as personalities in the paddock go, he certainly is one of my favorites. So it's a little bit disappointing to see him make that mistake and now have to fight his way back, but that's part of the game, that's part of motorsport. As one of the Audis, both of the Audis go in, the number 80 car and the number 1 car, both going to the pits. That's Jackson in the 80 car and Neveling in the number 1 car. There's Neveling now. Now we're going to watch Neveling and Aranji swap seats. A perfect stop there from Neveling, and look at how quickly they get out the car. Aranji is now in, and I think these guys are going to be the best when it comes to pit stops. Neveling giving Aranji a bit of a hand there as the SAGT steward, at least the official, looks on. And just look at the size of that official. If he says stop, you better stop that car. So the two of them trying to get out and going as quickly as possible. Gets the net on, slams the door. The jacks go out, and now we wait for the signal. They do have a minimum stop time, and a perfect stop there from Pagid Racing as Neveling hands the car over to Aranjis.
That's it, all time down to the key. Jackson also trying to get his way back out onto the circuit. So absolutely fantastic to see all the guys really giving it what they can. But how slick was that pit stop? Came out, took the foam out, threw it out, get the next driver in, buckle him up, get him back out to just keep going. You losing the least amount of time possible, and also having to wait just a fraction more. That's just good. So for the mandatory time. Good. So it's not just you taking up a time, it's just the mandatory time was costing you that fraction. And I mean, that's really good.
That's really good. Most of the teams are not within the mandatory window, and the fact that they are able to do that has really helped, because if you think about it, you get 2 seconds to go. We've got Kriya in the pit lane over there. Kriya's got some info for us. Let's hear what Kriya has to say.
Arnold, who has just got out of the leading car, how was that?
It was really good. The first part of the stint was really strong. We had good pace. They told me late on in the stint that I needed to push because I think one of the Ferraris was very quick. So I really gave it all there at the end. Literally jumped out the car now, so I have no idea where we are, if they might have jumped us yet or not.
I actually haven't checked, but you did do a beautiful 57. That was an amazing lap, 57.9.
Oh, fantastic. That's good, yeah.
So what is Charles going in now? What is the mindset? He obviously just needs to push as well.
Yeah, he needs to, I think, just get the maximum out of his stint that he possibly can, you know, without taking any unnecessary risk. So, yeah, let's see.
How's the car still feeling? Feeling strong, feeling reliable?
No, the car feels fantastic, especially in the long runs. I mean, right at the end, the balance was really good. Everything was working well, so really a great job by the team.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Arnold, and watch that Ferrari doesn't run you over. Lamborghini.
Yeah, let's see. Looks like they're coming in now, so let's have a look. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Arnold Neveling. He just stepped out of the current leading car. Now Charles is going to take it to the finish line.
Yep, watch out for those cars in the pit lane. You don't want to get run over. The pit lane a dangerous place because these guys are trying to go as fast as possible in the pit lane. Legally they can do 60 kilometers an hour. Isn't that correct, Steve?
That's it. They've got their pit limiter set to 60, and you can be sure they got it set to 60, but that foot is flat on the throttle to make sure that as soon as they get that pit limiter off, they're going to go from 60 to 100 in less than a second. That's for certain. They want to get out there. But we also saw Silvio was sitting in the pits. So he's now pitted, and now it is all time to see how much are they going to climb up, because you've got Charles Ranjis, who's also making up a bit of ground.
There's Marcel Angel now with Silvio Scribante behind him. That's the 55 car. Silvio Scribante is technically in third position, so he should be allowed to go past Marcel over there. But just behind Silvio, though, is the other Ferrari. That is Dane Angel, who's currently leading. So Silvio has to let Dane through, and Dane is technically our leader at the moment. Let's see how he does as Dane leads us off. Behind Dane is, of course, Marcel in the 46 car. Marcel's in the 46 car, Dane Angel in the 51 car. So now Marcel and Dane are going to swap places because Dane's in that 51 car over there. Look at that. Easily does it. through the left-hand sweep, and now into the final right-hand hairpin over there with Aldo Scribante watching on. No damage on the car, I don't think. But again, you know, there's so much other things happening as the Ferrari now goes along the outside of Kwanda over there, around the inside of Kwanda. There's so much happening over here, because what happens is that something could be wrong in the car. We, as commentators, we don't know. We find out later on he could have a slight wheel alignment issue where he's battling with. We don't know.
That's it. And one thing I have to just point out, we saw Dan Angel getting past Silvio, and Silvio gave Dan enough, but that was about it. Not a millimeter more. It was enough to get by. It's quite interesting. From race 1, it was gentleman drive, open everything up. Race 2, though, red mist has come down in full force, and the guys are, well, if you want to get past me, it's going to be just enough to get past.
Yeah, it's going to be just enough to get past. We've got Kriya back in the pits, and Kriya's going to give us again all that inside info.
Checking out all the action happening live behind us. I know the Auto Haas Angel team wants to know all the information. Tell me what you just witnessed.
Is it with Marcel?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so we had to pit him. I'll be with you now. I'm sorry, my driver wants to speak to me. Yeah, so we had to do a quick splash and dash while we did the pit stop, because the 458 seems to be using a bit more fuel at the moment. We, by the skin of our teeth, finished the first race, so we didn't want to take any chance with too low fuel right at the end. Yeah, so the boys, my team's very strong, and we're proud that we could do it in a, you know, kind of with it all happening at the same time.
Looking at the leaderboard at the moment, you are 2 laps behind Chelso and Darren. Obviously, they haven't come into pit just yet.
Yeah, I think our pit was probably, I mean, our previous pit was about 30 seconds or so, but the fuel obviously took a little bit longer. So Marcel will have to do his bit, but I'm happy to see that he's doing 59, so that's good going.
All right, good. Well, thank you so much for chatting to us, and best of luck. So it's going to be interesting to see if Marcel can come out of this one now that he's refueled and ready to go. He's got a little bit of catching up by looking at it, 2 laps behind Chelso and Darren in that Gqeberha Scribante.
So it looks like some pace is coming towards the 46 cars. We cut to the 51 car, but some pace is coming towards Marcel Angel. He'll be very happy with that. Starting to now go in the sub 1 minute range. Marcel Angel with a 59.995 in the 1 minute, under the in the sub 1 minute range, but he is getting extensive pressure now from the leader as well as Silvio, as the two of them go around the outside here towards the final corner. And this is your leader over there, that is Aranji's, at least now currently running in second position, but by all accounts, if the pit stops do shift around, he should be in front. But Scribante not backing out there. Aldo Scribante. So Aldo Scribante giving way. We just want to confirm, Dane did an early pit stop earlier on. Steve, is that confirmed that Dane Angel is in fact our leader at the moment by 8 seconds? How is that possible? The pit stop for Scribante was for Neveling was so fast.
That's it. He managed to just try and undercut. So 18 minutes, got in, went and got it all sorted out. But Silvio is not giving an inch to Charles Aranji's at this point. He's trying everything he can to just keep on the pace. Which
this is an insane turn of events. If they are able to keep that win, Dane Angel and his team, I mean, that would be unbelievable. The gap that Aranji's had, the gap that Neveling had earlier on, I thought was insurmountable. Their pit stop was almost perfect, and yet we find ourselves in a situation as we see the other Lamborghini of Goodman's over there in the pit lane. Looks like he'll be swapping out with Chelso, and now the Audi getting held up extensively now by Aldo Scribante over here. Aldo Scribante currently sitting in, let's see, fourth position. Fourth position is Aldo Scribante, and Neveling in second place. So far, Scribante has done, let's see, 42 laps, and Neveling has done 43 laps. So this is not for position. This is a lapped car that needs to give way. So the blue flags will be waving, no doubt, but looks like the speed differential is just not big enough, Steve.
Well, that's it. And, Ernest, I've got to ask you, your thoughts now. You got Charles Arungi's. If you had to be in his boots right now, seeing
goodness.
What could be going through the head other than, every word underneath the sun, trying to get past a fourth place car, which is gapping you in a straight line. You manage to catch up through the corners. What would be the thoughts? Do you back off? Do you let it go and try and catch up?
Especially over his radio, he'll be hearing that Dane Angel is in the lead. Dane Angel's best time is 58 seconds. Arungi Neveling's best time was 57.9, so they're very, very similar, 58.0. So somehow the consistency of Dane Angel has paid off. I can't believe it. It slightly slipped my mind that pit stop took place, but now on remembering it, I mean, it's unbelievable that Dane Angel has managed to usurp the leaders like this and put himself into first place. What a fantastic drive from Dane Angel in the 51 car.
Now, does Arungi's just keep on the back of Silvio, follow him through, using the toe the entire time to go and catch back up to Dane Angel? Maybe that's the best opportunity. Keep using the toe, pull yourself along, and try and make up a bit of ground. As you can see, Silvio is definitely quicker in a straight line. Maybe he's able to try and pull you all the way up, and you can make up a bit of ground.
Oh, there goes Sun Moodley over there. That is the Sun Moodley car. I don't think they've pitted yet. We'll have to check if that's Aldo Scribante behind the wheel, but I think that's Sun Moodley over there. We haven't seen that car in the pits yet, have we, Steve?
No, I haven't. We haven't seen it, and well, he's got the indicator on, and it does look like it's actually a different helmet in there. So I think Sun Moodley is out of the car, and that might be Aldo back in the car, because it looks like a different helmet.
Yeah.
It wasn't the white helmet that we used to see with Sun Moodley. So Aldo really getting a little bit of a rough ride in the car. He's trying to get used to it. Remember, he's only done one lap.
Wow, I cannot believe we got Colin Hasty in the comments over here commenting. We've got Kriya in the pit lane. Kriya's going to give us an update. Let's find out what Kriya has to say.
I'm standing here with Darren Goodman, who has just gotten out of that Gqeberha Scribante. An amazing race from you so far.
Thanks very much. It was awesome. What an experience. It was unbelievable. I didn't have an option. Michael Stevens bombed me on the line. But I didn't really want to get involved with the fast cars. It's not my championship. I'm just here for the guest ride. And it was amazing. I loved it.
Speaking to you before the race started, I felt like there was a couple of nerves getting into the car there this afternoon.
Probably the most nervous I've been since I stood on this grid. My first West Bank grade 20 years ago. It was incredible. But it settled down. We have a little issue with the fuel pressure in the car, so we're having to switch between pumps and we're having a bit of a misfire. But I'm so happy to bring the car in. Did my quickest time ever around the track, and Chelsea is back in the car, and good luck to him.
That quickest time was 59.79.
Yeah, I've never broken a minute yet in my life, so amazing. Just stoked about the way the day turned out.
So you guys are currently sitting at second. You were leading the race for quite some time in terms of Pro-Am. Marcel Angel has just gone out a little bit ahead of you, 3 laps ahead. Do you see Chelsea being able to catch up and you guys getting that first place?
I think if Chelsea can stay in the second, he'll be happy as anything as well. So I'll be just happy to be on the podium with the car. To give us a car to drive, what a day. Amazing.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of it.
Very much.
A beautiful drive there from Darren. He was a little bit nervous when we spoke to him on the grid this afternoon, but you can see as soon as that car got rolling, those nerves went out the window and he had a great performance.
Well, Dane Angel leads us off, and still the Audi stuck behind the Silvio Scribante car there, and Silvio Scribante in third position, technically behind the Arungi's car as the 51 car there, our lead car. And to confirm, all the pit stops are done. All the pit stops are done. 12 minutes of racing to go. And it looks like this man over here could win this entire thing. The gap now is 14 seconds between the first two players. 14.5 seconds. And we can watch that gap, see if that gap will dissipate. That means a second a lap at least is what's going to be needed. But I don't see that happening. A second a lap. And I'd love to speak to both these drivers and find out how they managed to find that time, because for me it looked like the Neveling pit stop was spot on.
Well, that's what we all thought here in the Obi van. It's just, one everything just worked absolutely perfectly. And I mean, we go back to Silvio still leading out, and there's an old ancient saying, Ernest, there's no replacement for displacement. And it looks like that V10 is really giving the V8 a bit of a hiding in a straight line.
I think they're both, these two here are both V10s. They share the Lamborghini engine, so I don't think there's any replacement. Maybe there's the Italian one's better than the German one, or something along those lines. But certainly both these cars are pushing very, very hard. The sounds of these cars just incredible. And look at that nose to tail racing, but this is not for position. This is Aranji's in second place and Silvio Scribante still in third place. Both of them in pro class, but the standings will stay the same regardless of what happens. And just a big shout out to all those people out there today as we see Chelsea Scribante making his way around the circuit in the 78 car. Big shout out to all the crowds out there. If you're watching the live stream, thanks so much for coming through. We really appreciate your support today, and we appreciate seeing you guys out there in at Aldo Scribante, your home circuit. And I'm sure you guys are enjoying some time out in the sun and maybe a little bit of wind as well.
Well, with 10 minutes left of the race, Dan Angel's still leading out. You know, Charles Aranji's in second place, still doing everything he can to try and make up. So, absolutely incredible.
Well, we're going to cut to Kriya. She's talking to Son Moodley.
I'm standing by with Son Moodley, who had a really nice run. It looks like that AMG is really settling in.
It is, yeah. Getting used to the track. We're getting used to the car. And it seems to be giving us some better lap times.
Yeah. It was quite a kind of stressful period for you because this car came from overseas in little pieces and you guys put it all together.
Together. We haven't been working very hard putting it together. So we're supposed to have the Germans come and assemble the car. Because of Ukraine, they couldn't get here. The other car that we also bought is on the water. So they wanted to do both together. So anyway, I've got some guys that have been with me for 12 years. They know how to handle anything. And Google and all the communication. With AMG, we were able to put it together, yeah.
Now Aldo's in the car going to the finish line. Was that a strategic decision for you?
No, it wasn't. Aldo helped us last night. We had a problem. We needed to machine something, and yes, very willing to help us. And I know these guys are so passionate. They love to be in the car, so I decided to help him a little bit, yeah.
And it's only fitting that he gets to race his home track.
Exactly, yeah. He's actually doing some good lap times too, yeah.
And it gives you some extra information that you can help use for your car.
Yeah, yes, true. We can read the telemetry and pick up what he's doing differently from me, yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, that might just give you the inside edge for the next race. Thank you so much, Son. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Well, finally, the Audis managed to get some clear air, and that looks like Silvio has finally let him go past. And now the Audi with some clear air ahead is going to try and extend, at least catch up to Dane Angel in front. The gap now extended to 17.4 seconds. And 17.4 seconds seems a little bit insurmountable at this stage with just 7 minutes and 40 seconds to go of the race.
That's it. I'm sure there was lots of talking to the team of, listen, this guy is holding me up through the corners. I've got to get past. And well, Silvio was having an absolute fantastic time with Charles Aranji. He was, you know, this is the best bit of dicing he's done. So it's quite fantastic to see how evenly matched the cars are, even though they're in different spots. You know, in the grid, they are still very, very close, and that's a hats off to the balance of performance that's done, and also the success ballast that gets put into the cars as well. So, you know, it just shows how close the cars can actually race with one another.
Yeah, these cars really can race closely together, and that's what the series is all about. Trying to get the drivers to race as closely together as possible. And Michael Steven now, speaking of close, managing to get up into 4th position behind Silvio Scribante there. So Michael Steven clawing his way back into 4th position. But at the moment, the podium still looks the same with Silvio Scribante in 3rd place. Aranji's Neveling in 2nd. I still cannot believe that. I still cannot believe, and I want to know exactly. I'd like to look at the telemetry and figure out how Dane Angel managed to pit so early and get that clear air in front of him. I mean, That was an incredible performance, but this is not the first time we've seen Dane Angel do this. He did the same thing at Red Star, where he did an early pit stop and managed to get ahead.
Well, just focusing on the race, that's the whole point. Keeping consistent, keeping the pace, and just kept going. So getting away from the traffic, getting away from all the chaos that's around him.
Michael Stephen, he was stuck behind Michael.
No, just to keep the pace up and keep going while everyone else was still trying to battle their way through, still trying to fight and see where they can go. So well done to Dan Angel and the team going and saying, right, we're going to make this call. And that's once again making a call during a race. It's not a pre-planned, it's not a plan from the beginning. They had to come up with that plan midway through the race.
Yeah, they had to come up with something midway through the race. And this team communications is allowed. The drivers are allowed to communicate with their crew. So it really is quite fantastic to see how they managed to pull this off, as we see that McLaren negotiating that last corner over there, just 5 minutes to go, 5 minutes and 3 seconds at this stage, and maybe a little bit of extra fat at the end of that 1 hour mark as we now come close to the end. Jackson now in front of the McLaren, and Michael Stephen in fourth place. A valiant drive from him, considering all the trials and tribulations that he had to go through, as we see drivers in the paddock making their way to the pit lane wall to cheer their drivers on in the final 5 minutes or so of racing.
That's it, and you can be sure the fatigue is kicking in for all these drivers. They've been up quite early this morning, and Quantum McKenna going off into the dirt as he's getting shoved out wide by Silvio. But the fatigue's starting to kick in. The guys are starting to lose focus, and it's all about just trying to get to that checkered flag. They're getting that lactic acid build up in the legs, so they're trying to just stretch the legs a little bit, try and make sure that they don't get any cramps as well. So it's all coming down to this. With under 5 minutes left, this is it. Let's just say final runs around here, Aldo Scribante here in Port Elizabeth, and that is something to think about.
Unbelievable stuff. We are in the final few minutes, and there is Jackson's team over there. Jackson running 2 cars, the Jackson car, of course, and also the Kwanda car. So the two of them, I spoke to the crew earlier on this morning. They say it's quite tough out there because they've got 2 cars running in all 3 races of the day. They've got the SAE later on as well. So they got their hands full at the moment as the 51 car comes through. That is your leader, folks. That is Dane Angel over there, and surprisingly doing an early pit stop. We saw the pit stop, Steve, but I couldn't believe that he was able to get ahead with the gap that Aranji's had built, plus Aranji's pace as well. It's just phenomenal.
There's a car in
the pits. Marcel Angel's in the pits, though. That is the other Angel car in the pits. Of number 46 car has gone into the pits. I wonder if that's because of the fuel.
I think so. I think Marcel Angel started getting the disco ball all over the screen saying, listen, you're running out of fuel, because he was chucking it out at the beginning of the race. So definitely not what you want to have in the last little bit of the race. He's going to fall down the ladder.
Yeah, he's going to fall down the ladder as Otto's Angel number 51 car comes through. But they will be happy, though, that they've got the overall lead. Marcel Angel still, though, leading Pro-Am with Goodman's behind him. Goodman's about 1 lap further down. So they could still come out in front of the Pro-Am category. And 51 car, that is your leader, as mentioned, the lone Dane Angel, running with quite a substantial gap. The gap is getting smaller, but it's still 16 seconds or so. Let's watch as they cross the line again. That's the 80 car of Jackson. We wait for the other Audi to cross the line, and then we can get that exact classification to see how many seconds as Aranji's managed to claw back. Aranji's has clawed back some time. He's now on 15 seconds. So Aranji's clearly has the pace, but I think there might not be enough time left on the clock.
Too little, too late, as they say. But it's fantastic to see Jackson with McQuena. They've been pitting together. They've been talking with one another, just trying to figure out how they can go and improve the cars the whole way through. And it's lovely to see the team just going and cruising around with the GT3 and GT4. I mean, that's a stunning shot to see a GT4 Audi and a GT3 Audi, to see the steps that Audi has gone in
both
the
cars
GT
from
racing.
The same stable as well. Both cars from the same stable, the same team, maintained by the same team, proudly crossing the finish line together later on. So they're going to be very proud of their car's performances. A little bit of pace there on the GT3 car they're going to be chasing, but I think everybody's doing this at this stage as the 51 car comes past for one more lap.
That's it. Dane Angel now just cruising around, trying to keep it all together. That's all he has to do. He's got the spacing. Charles Oranges is just too far back, but one mistake. If Dane Angel loses it, if he spins, if he goes off into the tyre wall, that's it. His race can be over. So it's not over until the checkered flag waves.
You've heard about the commentator's curse, right?
There's a single corner.
The commentator's curse is a very real thing. So I'm not going to say anything, because if this happens, they're going to get you at the bar later on. So
it's a good thing I don't drink. But Dan Angel keeping it all together, making his way around the circuit, which is absolutely fantastic. And Charles Oranges must be absolutely kicking themselves at this point. They tried everything, but I don't think there's enough time to make up that ground.
Yeah, definitely not enough time. We're going to watch the time tick down now as well. And look, Dane Angel can slow it down a little bit. He's got no pressure on him at the moment. 15 seconds is quite a substantial gap. Now 14 seconds. So a substantial gap of 14 seconds there. But Dane Angel just needs to circulate at this stage. And I cannot believe that Dane Angel has pulled this one out the bag again. Early pit stop strategy clearly seems to work for these cars. And we'll be interested to see how these guys do at the next race. Are they all going to stop at the 20-minute mark? Are they all going to stop slightly earlier? We're going to have to wait and see. But Dane Angel certainly has set the benchmark on how it's supposed to be done, with 2 wins in the season so far.
That's it. Just keeping the car all in check, making his way through, braking hard into the final corner, putting the power on. And you can see a long sweeping right-hander now onto the straight.
And there comes the checkered flag, ladies and gentlemen. Dane Angel takes the checkered flag in the Pro Class category as well. Overall, takes the win. Second place is Oranges Neerveling. I can scarcely believe it. The guys that we tipped to be easily the fastest here today get second place. In second place, there is Oranges and Neerveling. Aldo Scribante comes across the line in third position. And just behind that, Michael Steven across the line as well. So the top 4 pro drivers all make it through. Marcel Angel still in 4th position. Marcel Angel still in 4th position over there in the Pro-Am category. But just an incredible turn of events there for all of these drivers. I cannot believe that they've done so well. And here come the Jackson cars now. Here come the 2 Audis, lights ablaze. Both of them taking a bow, and Kwanda Mokoena must be very happy with his performance today. The car is wheels down, roof up, and that was the brief from his team. Bring the car home, get some laps in, do your best, and let's see what happens, and we'll take it from there. And Kwanda Mokoena going to be very proud of that performance over there in the GT4, the lone GT4 car here on the circuit, as Dane Angel in the 51 car circulates once more. And now they make their way into the pit lane over there, the weighbridge section of Aldo Scribante. They're going to get those cars weighed now. And soon we will be handing over to our team in the pit lane and at the podiums, where the winners will be announced. And Kriya Gangi, of course, will be chatting to our winners today to try and find out from them what their experiences were like. Because just unbelievable turn of events today. These guys really performed, and it was fantastic to see some good racing at this level. It's not often. Sometimes when you've got these type of cars, this type of racing, the racing isn't quite as fast as furious as we'd like it. But these drivers were not holding back. They were definitely not pulling any punches, and no love lost even between the teams. And so far, so good for this series. I'm very proud to be one of the commentators for this series, because I think things will only go from strength to strength. More cars will be joining over the coming months. More teams are getting their cars ready. And I think we saw from race 1 at Red Star that the drivers and the teams are trying to improve their cars every single time. So we definitely expect more performance in every way from everyone over the period, over the next coming weeks and next coming months, as the drivers get ready for the next round 3. But for now, let's have a look at what's happening in the crowd. Everybody having a good time by the looks of things. If anybody's on the live stream, give us a wave. Oh, I see the guys there by that Renault having a good old time there in Jofi. Guys enjoying the view, enjoying the racing. Yes, I am talking to you gentlemen on your phone there. Maybe you can hear me, I don't know. But looks like everybody's having a good time there by the quid. Enjoying the sights and sounds here at Aldo Scribante Raceway. And I tell you, it's so cool to see people out at the circuit again. I mean, but many of us consider the racetrack our second home. And for many years now, we weren't allowed to invite any friends over. So now finally, our friends can come visit and enjoy the racing with us. And that's exactly what's happening right now. We've got that Sun Moodley car, unfortunately, not making it all the way through to the weighbridge over there. So I'm wondering if there's any issues with that car. The Sun Moodley car parked in the pit lane there. They should be officially weighed to get for standings. So this might be a small problem for Sun Moodley and the team over there. And they've also got to get the car ready for the endurance race. So maybe they weighed real quick. So we're going to have to wait and see and find those results out as everybody makes their way to the weighbridge section. It's one of those cool places where you get to see all the cars really tightly bunched up together and walk your way through and thread your way through to have a look and see what the cars are doing. A fantastic day's racing here at the Aldo Scribante Circuit, and just a fantastic display by all the drivers over here. And this looks like the outside of the S's, I think. It looks like the outside of the S's, yeah. And this is where everybody's chilling, having a good time. You guys can hear me out there. I hope you guys are having a fantastic time at the racing today. You guys have been great. Some more crowd shots. How's it? How are you guys doing? Guys enjoying the racing? That is by the hairpin section. So by the hairpin section, that was the visuals over there. As we now cut to the skid pan, where the drivers will be making their way, getting onto the weighbridge, and Dane Angel finds himself at the top of the podium. That is an unbelievable drive. So unbelievable, in fact, that I thought for a second they need to pit stop again. But Dane Angel, no need. One stop early on, and that was all he needed. Gets the cap there from his teammate. That, of course, is their crew chief. And looks like we're going over to Kriya Gangia now. And Kriya Gangia with the winners.
Well, congratulations. How does that feel?
Yeah, no, it feels great. I really wasn't expecting it. The Audi's been in a league of its own the whole weekend. But yeah, it just shows that 30 kgs we took out from the third place, yeah, to a different car to drive, so over the moon.
Let's talk about the fact that you managed to complete 61 laps in 60 minutes, which means including a pit stop, you were doing less than 1 minute a lap.
Yeah, no, the pace was very fast. Yeah, it didn't feel that fast, to be honest, especially towards the end. I backed it off a bit, but Divan was still reading me the time. So yeah, I mean, the car was just hooked up. So yeah.
What does this do for you in terms of championship points?
Oh, I've got no idea. Hopefully we're somewhere there at the top. But yeah, you know, it's only the second round, so there's plenty of racing to go.
All right. Well, congratulations and thank you for chatting to me.
Thanks very much.
All right, let's see. Ernest, I'm going to go back to you whilst I see if I can find our second place.
Kriya now on the hunt for second place, and as mentioned, I don't think Aranjis and Neveling were expecting that second place. I cannot wait to get the updates from them, but still plenty racing up ahead, as you can see from the crowds here. The crowds waiting for the endurance racing, which will start later on, but I'm sure they enjoyed the racing here today, because look at the gentleman over there giving the visual on how exactly the guys go sliding around the corner. Charles now with Kriya. Here we go.
So I'm standing here with our second place finisher, Charles Aranjis. Beautiful drive from you and Arnold today. How was it?
No, it was good. I think the second race we carried on from the first race. Quite a dominant first stint from Ari. So I don't know where the Ferrari space came from all of a sudden. I mean, it's quite crazy. But in any case, yeah, more than that, I think we did well. You know, it's our first weekend in the championship. Well, back in the championship, we didn't race at Red Star. So, you know, we're coming from behind, trying to nip the championship, so to say. So, but yeah, more than that, well done to the team, well done to Ari. He did so well. yeah, that last stint was a bit silly. Yes, it's difficult getting past. I don't know. I think all our drivers must maybe go for classes in flags because, gee, you couldn't get past that back marker. But in any case, it is what it is. It was fun and yeah, all-round good weekend.
You know what, I think that is what comes into play because strategically wise, the Autohaus guys brought Dane in early to get him away from Michael Stephen and kind of put him out there. Is it something that maybe strategically you guys need to look at?
No, I think our pace was there. Our strategy was on point. I just, you know, I think, you know, looking at the pace of all the cars this weekend and knowing our position, the pace of the Ferrari caught us totally by surprise. I think it caught everyone by surprise. It was just, it wouldn't have mattered when we pitted. There was no way to fight against it today. So yeah, but more than that, like I say, I was happy with the car. It was brilliant.
All right, one last question. We've been talking about success balance and how that really affects the drive. Do you think winning the first round kind of was a disadvantage going into the second one?
No, not at all. I think in Ari's lap times you would have seen he did exactly the same lap time as in the first race, and that was without the 75 kg. So, you know, we set our car up for weight, and we were still doing the same lap times. So yeah, like I say, it's almost in a way back to the drawing board to see what we can do to beat the Ferrari.
A tweak here and there, and we're going to come back stronger at the next one.
Awesome. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much, Charles. All right, Ernest, back to you whilst I see if I can find out third place finisher.
Third place finisher is what Clea is on the hunt for now, and that was Charles Arangi's over there. Silvia Scribante will be the man that she's chasing now. But speaking of chasing, Silvia was chasing Charles was chasing Dane, and this is the other aspect of endurance racing that I absolutely love. It's not just about on-track antics, it's also about who can get the advantage off-track. And we saw that play out firsthand now with these drivers having to play the game, so to speak, and make sure that they didn't give away anything, make sure that they played the game as well as possible. The Toyota GD6 coming in handy there, the back of the Toyota GD6 coming in very handy as a viewing location, nice and high up. So those people over there in the bucky getting a fantastic view of the action over there. I hope they enjoyed the racing. Smiles all around, beers in hand. So I spoke to Sarah van der Merwe a couple of weeks ago, and we don't mix alcohol and booze, but certainly after the race or watching the racing, one can have a crack of beer every now and then. So yeah, those champions are definitely being fueled at the moment on the side of the circuit. But our drivers will be popping non-alcoholic champagne pretty soon as we wait for Kriya to give us more information. Kriya, she's got our third place driver over there. Let's hear what she has to say.
Ernest, you know what? I'm actually going to hold that third place interview for you because the guys are itching to get to that non-alcoholic champagne that you mentioned. And I think it's time for us to do the podium. So let's start off with our pro category. Coming in third place from the Gqeberha Scribante team is Silvio Scribante. On the podium, please, sir. Number 3. Coming in second place in the pro category is Charles Arangi's and Arnold Nebling from Stradale Motorsport. And a great finish from Autohaus Angel. A big congratulations to Dane Angel. And I'd also like to call up a representative from the Autohaus Angel team to join Dane Angel. Giving out our trophies is Wayne Riddell, a representative from the SAES. All right, it's celebration time.
Now you can get full of it.
A little trick there, Ernest. If you're ever wondering how to avoid getting a champagne spray, stand behind the cameraman. It's the best way to do it. All right, we're standing by. We're getting ready for our Pro-Am category as we do our top 3 finishers. A very big congratulations first off to our 3rd place finisher. Let's just get the girls a little bit of time to organize the podium behind us. These are the girls from the Scribante group that are looking absolutely fabulous today and joining us in the windy city of PE as they're handing out the trophies and that non-alcoholic bubbles that we were chatting about. Let's see. Seems like the team is ready, and it's time for us to do our 3rd place finish for the Pro-Am Series. Is Marius Jackson from MJR Motorsports. Oh! Marcel Angel is so excited he skipped the queue, but that's all right. It's Chelsea Scribante and Darren Goodmans in the Gqeberha Scribante who finished 2nd, and then coming up in 1st place is Marcel Angel, again from Auto Haas Angel team. I'm getting out the way immediately. It's a lot of excitement and a well-deserved win from the Auto Haas Angel team, taking first not only in the Pro but the Pro-Am as well. But that is not the only category that we have. We have one more to go, and that's the Am category. And again, one competitor in this category. A very big congratulations to a shining star that is coming up in South Africa, Kwanda Mokwena, walking away with the #1 place in the Am category. We are looking for him. He seems missing in action. He seems... Oh, okay, it seems like the team has got him here. We're just going to finish up with the photographs behind me. Please make sure that you do stay tuned to the stream, because we are going to be doing the SA Endurance Series that is coming up next. That's a 4-hour race as we head under lights a little later this evening for the Endurance Series. So let the team just finish up their photos, and I'm going to get Kwanda up onto the podium for his finish. All right, there we go. Kwanda is ready. Our Am champion, Kwanda Mokwena, taking the 1st place. Congratulations. So a very big congratulations to Kwanda. Kwanda, can I just steal you for a quick interview here? Now going into the South African endurance race that's starting in the next couple of minutes, how are you feeling? Is the body taking a little bit of strain, or are you ready for this?
Just a little bit sweaty, but other than that, mentally, I think...
Don't smell good, don't worry.
I think we're ready. Just hopefully we can bridge a small gap, and then once I pass the car over to Mo, we can bring it home safely.
So is Mr. Mo starting, or are you going to be hitting the first run?
I'll be starting and then passing it over. Thank you.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much, Kwanda, and all the best for today.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Like Kwanda said, he is going to get ready, get into the car, and get it all kitted out as we stand by to go into the SA Endurance Series.
Yes, indeed. The SA Endurance Series will be happening later on today. And my name is Ernest Page, joined by Kriya Gang here. And we're going to be cutting this stream, but be sure to join us late and stay tuned. Watch for updates for the SA Endurance Series. What a fantastic bunch of racing we've seen so far. But as we said, folks, it's not over yet. The racing continues here at Aldo Scribante, but tune in later on for the South African Endurance Series 4-hour at Aldo Scribante.